Hello and welcome to another episode of Powerful People. My name is Kevin Curtin. I'm the Community Program Manager for Power for Parkinsons. And I'm here with our co-founder and director, Nina Mosier, as well as Mike Stepp, who we're very, very happy to have on the show today because the Stepp Family Foundation has been an enormous supporter of our work in providing exercise and social opportunities and connectivity for people with Parkinson's. Thank you both for being on Powerful People today.
Very happy to be here with you.
We all have something in common, and that is that all of us have had parents with Parkinson's disease. Can we talk about that a little bit today?
Sure.
Nina, why don't you begin? Your father having Parkinson's disease was a huge factor in the minting of this organization, this nonprofit, and the work we do. Can you tell us a little bit about your dad and what that journey was like for your family?
Sure. Well, let's see. I founded Power for Parkinsons in 2013. My dad probably had Parkinson's for maybe around, at least 8 years. He had been diagnosed at that point, but and he had progressed. Obviously, I saw the progression of his disease, and my whole family experienced it, and we just really observed him as he wasn't someone who liked to exercise, so and he didn't exercise for quite a while until later in his life when he started to really slow down and was having a lot more trouble walking, and he started doing physical therapy. He did the big program, the LSVT program for his voice. I saw how much he improved with that, and from that point on, from my perspective, I knew it was very hard for my mom, it was hard for my dad, like the dynamics changed in the family, and I was of course always looking for a way to try to help him manage better, help my mother manage better. So just seeing him improve with PT, then looking for other ways to keep him active, which really weren't available at that time. So that just led me to kind of do more and more research and try to find a way to help them cope better with the disease.
That's amazing, and you've helped thousands and thousands of people because of that situation and that inspiration. Mike, can you talk a little bit about what you remember from when your father Gene was diagnosed with Parkinson's?
Well, I remember the first time I noticed that he had a tremor in his hand and kind of thought, well, that's interesting, and didn't say much about it. My dad was a very private person. He would hide things. And so, but he had spent his career in the pharmaceutical industry and, understood the disease a bit. So I think he knew he had, let me put it this way. Until he died, he would never actually say he had Parkinson's disease. He said, I have Parkinson's-like symptoms, but he would never admit that he had Parkinson's. I think he viewed any disease as a weakness, which is ironic for a guy in the pharmaceutical business. You're trying to treat everybody, but he viewed it, if you have a disease, there's something you should have done differently, and you should have improved yourself. But unfortunately, it's not true. And then as we had a friend who was a very prominent neurologist, researcher, and he came to me one day and said, one of my hobbies is I can spot people in the airport or wherever I am. I can pick out who's got Parkinson's before they even know it, because I see certain things in their gait or the way they hold themselves, and I'm an expert. And he said, and your father has Parkinson's. And I said, well, that's really interesting. None of us knew that. And I said, he won't do anything about it because there's really no cure. And he said, well, let's have an intervention. And so he and I went out and played 9 holes of golf. And then we had an arrangement that we were going to come back and have lemonade at my parents' house. We worked with my mom. Only my dad didn't know. And we all sat down, and he said, Gene, you have Parkinson's. And my dad said, well, okay. Nothing you could do about it, so who cares? And he said, no, actually, there is things you can do about it. And, you know, we can start on some medications, and Bob went forward with it.
Well, I mean, so I think we're hitting on something that's unique with your family, but also something I think a lot of people will find relatable and common to the Parkinson's experience. A lot of us have one parent who has Parkinson's and another that is in a caretaker role. And we all know how hard that role is. It's not always a parent's, a lot of times it's a child. Can you talk about how your mother, Hannah, adapted to that with her husband, your father, Gene?
So patience was not something that my mother was very good with.
Okay.
And, you know, she's always in a hurry, and she was a little impatient with my dad, because my dad was, you know, suffering from Parkinson's-like symptoms, and, you know, she recognized that he needed to be doing more, so she was the one that really made sure that they had the trainer come twice a week, and that she would make my dad go walk with her, and, you know, I won't, nagging's not a good word, but she was on him to, you know,
Motivated.
do the things, yes, keep him motivated and positive. And I think he was genuinely grateful for that. But yeah, I think it was a very difficult role, because in the end, you know, we would all come over and visit. We would see what she had to go through, and then we would leave and say, hang in there, you know, good luck. And, you know, she would say, you guys all leave me, and I'm the one who gets stuck with it, you know.
Yeah.
And in fact, I remember at one point where they had a big argument about some things, and she said, you know, I'm done with this. I'm tired of it. I'm gonna move out and go live in an apartment somewhere, and he's yours. And I sat there, no, he's not mine, you know. But it's hard to watch somebody slowly decline that that you love, and not really be able to do a lot for them. And so I think it's very frustrating, and it makes you, it's a very lonely place to be.
I think that's a good word for it. I mean, also you're now challenged to have this whole different skill set as someone who takes care of someone who needs a lot of care, you know.
Right.
And I think it's difficult. What was that like for your family, Nina?
I mean, I think it's a very interesting transition, because it really changes the dynamic of a couple. And then and I think we see this a lot through Power for Parkinson's also. I mean, there's different ways people relate to someone with Parkinson's. You know, you just see different responses as far as a caretaker is concerned, and what level they're able to give to their loved one. And so it's tricky, and it's challenging on both ends, because it changes things.
It's
And
very
the person with
frustrating.
Parkinson's also doesn't want to be a burden, so they try to, a lot of people, you know, they want to be independent, and they don't want to ask for help. So, you know, it's a difficult balance. I don't know if there's like a specific answer to that either, so I think it's hard.
What about the reversal of roles of, you know, the child and the parent, which of course happens, you know, with age for anybody as their parents get older, and you're like, oh, the person who has helped me for my entire life, I now have some responsibility to help them. But that increases with families with Parkinson's, doesn't it?
Definitely, because, you know, that they become less and less capable, and so we get more and more guilty feeling about not making sure that everything's perfect, and that they're, you know, I mean, you want them to be protected, you know, because it's a natural instinct to protect your family, and you see this person who's losing their ability to protect themselves in some respects, and so, you know, it's like, how do you be there? You can't be there 24/7. You can't, well, you can, but I don't, you know, didn't want to move in and live with my parents and become that kind of caregiver, and they didn't want me there. You know, they like their independence, and you know, thanks for coming for dinner. Now go home, because we got to go back to our Parkinsons. And joke about it, but it's not. It's very, very frustrating, and, you know, I was very thankful that my mom was able to be the one doing most of that for him, because we wanted to go home and live our lives too.
Yeah, and you do, and everyone certainly deserves to. But the other part of that parent-child dynamic that's so interesting is, like, you know, as a parent of a young child right now, I can't imagine a day where he tells me what to do. You know, Dad, you need to go see your doctor. You need to go exercise or something like that. You know, it's like, no, I tell you what to do. You're my offspring. But at some point, if you're a care partner, you do have to be instructing, you know, your elder, the person who raised you, and, you know, hey, make sure you take your medicine or whatever it is. And I think that complicates the family dynamic.
See, I was lucky because my mom did all those roles for my dad, and so I didn't really have to do it. And then my mom was really pretty self-motivated until really maybe the last few months, and then it became kind of, Mom, you know, you've fallen several times and you're not telling us about it. We can't protect you if you don't let us help you. You know, she wouldn't let us hire full-time help because she didn't want them. You know, I'm tired of entertaining these people. And I said, they're not there for you to entertain. They're there for you to watch you and to make sure you don't get in trouble. Well, I don't want them, you know, they're in my room all the time. And I said, well, so send them to the back bedroom and they can play on their iPad or their phone. They're happy to do that. And that way, but if you fall or something happens, they're here to help you. Well, they didn't get that. You know, it's not comfortable. They want to be alone. They want to, you know, everybody likes their alone time. And so I think it was very frustrating. But I didn't personally have that frustration until really the last month or so, last couple of months, I think.
Well, I think you touched on an important point, because I think your mom was very self-motivated, and she was the kind of person, like, she was gonna make sure she walked every day.
Absolutely.
She stayed, like, socially engaged, and she played bridge.
Bridge online all day.
So she's doing a lot. I think is really, actually, for anyone who's watching right now, I think that's kind of an important point, because the more people are able to stay engaged, they can be more self-sufficient. So, although it's always a difficult balance, because especially for people who are not already exercising or don't already have those social supports, it's difficult for, like, the caregiver to try to get them the right, you know, get them motivated and build that.
Yeah, what if any advice do y'all have for keeping people with Parkinson's from withdrawing? Because we know how important that social element is.
I think we would, you know, we have a routine, you know. I mean, we would always eat dinner together certain nights of the week, and you know, you kind of force it. I think my dad would have been much more of a you know, quiet, stay at home and just, you know, withdraw. My mom was still very social. You know, her bigger challenge was that due to her age, you know, many of her friends were disappearing, and so it's, you know, there's only a few of them left. So, you know, and none of them like to go out and see the other ones in decline, because it reminds them of what's happening for themselves. But yeah, I think it's key to, you know, have dinner with the family and, you know, interact if you can, or friends if you have them that want to keep you social.
Well, I think for us in our community, we found that group exercise is a fantastic way for people to connect with each other. You know, for strangers to become friends, for people to be able to get answers to a question that they have about their life and their experience. But also just going through the process of exercising. I think when you exercise, it's something that it's more fun when you do it with other people. So therefore, it has a community element to it. Was your mom somebody she enjoyed exercise?
Yeah, so my mom walked several miles every day for 50 years. I mean,
Wow.
that was her thing. And, everybody in the neighborhood knew my mom because they, oh, that's that lady walking every day with her stick in her hand. And she did her walk sometimes twice in a day. And she made all her caregivers go and walk her. And, we all walked with her. And she used to say, when I can't walk, it's all over.
Wow.
And she was right. It was pretty much all over once she fell and broke her hip. And but the exercise was key. I mean, look, exercise gives you a dopamine release. It also moves the muscles. We all get stiff, even if we don't have Parkinson's. As we get older, we get up and you're like, oh, I can't stand up straight anymore. I can't imagine how much harder it is if you don't have, full muscle control. And so it must be a very frustrating position to be in.
So you're visiting from California right now, and you got to witness a Power for Parkinson's class just today. What was your impression of it, and was it good exercise for you just as a visitor? I mean,
Well, first of all, I couldn't actually do most of the exercises because they're complicated. You have to think about it and then move with the thought, and I'm not really good at either of those. So, but I learned and I got better. Balance, was very good. But what I loved is the community aspect of it, because these are people who, for one reason or another, tend to get very isolated, and ways that you can, I think, exercise, medication, eating right, all those things, like in any condition, whether it's cardiovascular or whatever we all end up with. The sense of community that comes, I think diseases and conditions estrange us from others because suddenly you have it yourself and it's not something you share with everybody. And so it makes you not want to, not that many people want to go out and say, oh, by the way, did you know I got Parkinson's last week? It's like, really? What am I supposed to do with that? And so they tend to withdraw, and the class is great because everybody, there's little judgment. Nobody says, well, look, I can do the ladder better than you, and I can bounce the ball better. No, it's like, hey, fantastic, you did it, and you showed up, and you get your reward, and so I love the community aspect of it because that's what keeps people. People don't live just to live; they live for community and their social interaction.
Yes, that's so true. Well, we've said it before today, but these classes, they don't happen without support from people, and we want to thank you and your family for supporting it. Can we talk a little bit? I mean, both of you, this is part of your legacy of good doing. Your father's experience caused you to found this organization that's helped a great deal of people. And both of your parents, this experience has led to you supporting it in ways that really help us keep it going. So is it in honor, that we're able to do this work in honor of our parents?
Well, I will say for me, of course, I am honored, and I'm, as much as you don't want a family member to have Parkinson's, if you can help others and then something good comes out of it, I mean, that is extremely rewarding, and I think, that's a great legacy to have. So I'm, as sad as it makes me feel when I think about my dad and what he went through, I'm glad, I just know that now there's so much hope for so many people, and like you and your family have helped us provide that also. I mean, you've
Ours
just
is the
helped
easy part.
carry it.
It's easy to give some funds and let people do the hard work, and that was one thing I was going to say about when you asked about having attended the class. I mean, one of the things I was very impressed with was, the level of instruction and how, it's really very professionally done, and all the volunteers that you have, they're all so dedicated. Everybody's so involved and upbeat, and you know, I mean, I'm ready to go back and do some more exercise. And, you know, God, Lisa, how can you let me sit on the couch so long? Didn't you know? But no, I mean, it's really inspiring to see all these people who aren't doing this just because they're getting paid a bunch of money to, you know.
Right.
It's
yeah.
clear that they love the people and
Yeah.
the mission. You know,
Yeah.
missions are important.
Yeah, and I think it really is like the people who we work with are truly incredible. I don't think anybody who we work with thinks of them as just like a category, just people with Parkinson's or Parkinson's. You know, once in a while you hear someone say the word patience. It's like these are people with their own lives, their own histories, their own accomplishments, their own careers, and we simply get to facilitate an opportunity for them to stay healthy by exercising and stay mentally healthy by being, you know, enjoying the fellowship, whatever you want to call it, with other people, you know. Which is, I mean, I think we're all lucky, and the volunteers are too, to be able to witness that on multiple times a week.
And I think, you know, one part of the beauty of all of this and like the whole experience today, going to a live class, I mean, we've talked a lot about our live classes, but what those have been almost like, I mean, I hate to call it a lab, but that is where our instructors have gained all their insight, and then we get to share it with everybody out in the world in YouTube, where the exercises and the classes that we offer are all so relevant, and they're geared like specifically for people with Parkinson's. Other people, of course, can do them because we always include care partners, and they come regularly also. So we know what works, and it's been like unbelievable, like how organically this has evolved, and our instructors are all experts because they put their hearts and souls into every single class. So,
Mike, do you have a message to anybody who's watching this who's maybe, you know, like you, has one parent or two parents who's going through Parkinson's right now?
You know, all I would say is, I think people hear Parkinson's and they think of it as a movement disorder that eventually, you know, at this point we don't cure it. And so you learn to live with it, and I think most people kind of don't like chronic diseases, you know, or conditions because they feel like it's a burden. I would say to these people, you know, get up and get out and do the even if you have to just pull it up on YouTube and do the exercises in your home, you know, by doing them, it's going to make you feel better. If you feel better, you feel better about yourself. If you feel better about yourself, you're going to be more social and you're going to have a better life. I mean, you can sit on the sofa and spend your final years of life doing very little, or you can get up and make something happen. And there's still plenty to give back. You know, my mom gave back till the very end. And, you know, so it's not like, and she was 93, you know, it wasn't like the last 10 years were just, you know, woe is me, my husband's died, and now I have Parkinson's. It was really more, you know, let's make something happen. And she used to get all of her aides to do the Powerful Parkinsons, and I remember going over there, they're all sitting in a chair with the iPad up on a stand, and they're doing boom, and I'm like, what in the world? And they loved it. These aides, they loved it. It's like every day, now it's time, it's 3 o'clock, we're doing our Powerful Parkinsons again, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I gotta go do something else.
I mean, it is a really good break for a care partner or caretaker, you know. I mean, my mom cared for people with Alzheimer's when I was a kid, you know. She was a home health nurse. And it's good to have an activity. I mean, you can sit around and visit, you know. A lot of times when I was there, we would just visit after school, go to someone's house, we're just visiting with somebody. But to have like, oh, it's time to, if you're in Austin area, it's time to go to the class. We have so many people who go to the class, you know, the care partner goes to the class with the participant. Or at home, just doing it together. It's an hour of good exercise, you know, that will make you feel better. even if it feels complicated and cognitively challenging, the patterns and stuff, you know, so.
Well, I felt good because I was able to do it at least as good as David. And he's a doctor, you know.
Well, we were so happy to have you come see the class because your support has meant the world for our organization, and I think the people who come to our classes already know that, but I think it was special for them to get to meet you. So thank you very, very, very much for coming and for talking to us today. Nina, is there anything that you want to add about this conversation or today's experiences?
I think that, well, first of all, I'm thrilled that you are here. So we've talked about it, you a lot. I've known you for a long time, so really very, very grateful for everything you've done for us. And I just think that for everybody out there, I mean, I think, of course, we're Power for Parkinsons, all about community, exercise, staying in touch. We do that online. We're here for, you know, the world, anybody. We answer all our comments online, so you can stay in touch with us. We have a lot of ways to get involved, virtually and in person, and
Yeah.
I think it's changing lives. We see comments all the time, so I think that's the best thing you can do.
And
Parkinson's isn't the end,
It-
right?
yes.
Just like Mike said,
Yeah.
you can do something about it.
There's still a great life to be lived, and I love that we have that we're here for the care partners too, you know, and that they can find support through our organization too, and because I think to some degree we all firsthand know what that means and how hard those people are working and how, as you said, hang in there, you know, but finding ways to, you know, include them and support them and just tell them that, you know, we know what you're doing and it's seen, you know, so. Awesome.
Well, you know, one last note, and that is, you know, Nina has done such a fantastic job building this organization, and she doesn't really stand out there with a big sign saying, "Hey, I'm in charge and I did this," and you know, it's really remarkable. She takes really small suggestions, and all of a sudden it's like, "Wow, you did all that!" So hats off to you.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, it takes a whole. We have an amazing team
Yeah.
of people. Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching another edition of Powerful People, and keep moving. What are we going to call it?